All right, please be joined this time by Parker Resources friend and good coach, Brandon Evans, Brooks County. Coach, thanks for joining me, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. Bring that hammer.
Yeah, before we get into the defense, we got to talk about the clinic. We're bringing the Hammer Clinic March. We got a date as of today. I think we got a date. What's going on?
Absolutely. Yeah, March 25th. This is our fifth year doing this. We're excited. We enjoy doing it every year. I think we've developed it into a ball coaches clinic. It's going to be March 25th. It's going to be at our place at our high school. We're going to go a registration 11 to 11:45. We're going to get started at 12 o'clock. We've got 6 speakers, 3 offense, 3 defense. And then following that, not only are we going to feed you lunch as you come in for registration, we are going to feed you again at 6 o'clock. And we've got great coaches from all over the state that are going to host some breakout sessions, kind of some Q&A. All we're going to do there is direct you where it is that they are, and they have all agreed that they're open books. They will talk to you about anything that you may want to know. I think we've got a great mix on offense this year. We've got Coach Pruitt, the head coach at Fitzgerald, is going to be talking about gap scheme, OL fundamentals. He's going to be out there coaching our offensive linemen on the power, the counter, and the buck, and we don't run any bucks, so it'll be fun to watch him guide our guys. We've got Coach Banks, the head coach up at Greene County, who's an established guy in the RPO community. He's a head football coach. I mean, he's one of the few guys that have written a book and people have actually bought it and read it. And then we've got Coach Rogers, the head football coach over at TCC, was at the front of their turnaround. I can say from being in the area, TCC was getting down pretty low. And then all of a sudden, him and his staff got there. And I mean, they didn't know how to lose. And he's going to talk about the offensive workflow, how he establishes stuff within his offensive staff and how they move information. On the defensive side, we've got Coach Winston, 2022 state champ, 5A, Ware County. Statistically, I believe they were the best defense in the state. I think they gave up an average like single digits, less than 10 points a game. He's going to be there talking DB fundamentals, running our DBs through what it is he does. We're going to have Coach Goolsby from Auburn High School. First and foremost, he's a defensive coordinator. He's a certified ball coach. He's got some big-time national awards. You may have seen him. I think he's the funniest dude on Twitter with some of those,
Don't let the joking videos fool you, though.
He has been a true, just absolute pleasure to talk to. And these are guys, man, Twitter is a wild world. Like, I didn't know Coach Goolsby. I didn't know Coach Banks all that well. Just reached out to these guys through Twitter and they hit me up and nobody has trouble talking football. Nobody, as long as the dates line up, I have never had trouble, even with complete strangers saying, yeah, I'll come to your place and talk football. Come on. And then we've got Coach Mays. He's the D-line coach over at Camden County High School. They've been known for great defense for years. He played defensive line at Liberty. He's a 20-year vet. And he's going to be talking just all the fundamentals, the ins and outs of defensive line play. He'll actually have our linemen out there doing some stuff, and I'm excited to hear that because traditionally Camden's been an odd front. We're an even front, so I'm ready to hear coaching points on a zero nose because we don't really use them. And then our breakout sessions, we've got Coach Shaw and his staff over at Wayne. I think their turnaround was the talk of the state all year. You took Wayne County, that was known for being athletic and good, but they had dipped. I believe they were over. Him and his staff showed up, and I can say firsthand, seeing it up close and personal, he built a heck of a football team. I know they went to the quarterfinals, double-digit wins. Like he turned that place around, and he doesn't even have a topic. If you just want to know, Coach Shaw, what'd you do in your first 100 days? He's gonna have a table, fix you a plate, go sit, talk with him, ask him what it is they did. We've got Coach Myers coming from your neck of the woods just to talk, some of the things that go on up there and his experience in his first few years as a head coach. You have agreed to come and talk with us. So you can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
I'll talk to anybody that wants to talk to me. But
there you go. Like, and it's going to be so laid back, man. We're trying to create that hotel lobby vibe that you get where you see a guy and you just go out and you ask him, hey, how'd you do this? We're not putting topics on these table session leaders. It's just they're here. Their time is, you have their time. Take advantage of it. We've got Coach Helton over at Jeff Davis. I had never met Coach Helton, had seen what he was doing at Jeff Davis, having grown up in the area. For them to be winning like they were, I knew something had to be in the water. And I spent the weekend with Coach Helton at the GACA game. And I left there knowing exactly why it is that Jeff Davis is winning, because he's the real deal. He's going to come. And I mean, if you just want to talk wing T guards, man, we might have to kick y'all out. No pun intended, but we might have to make y'all leave. We've got Coach Williams over at Lanier. He just led them to their first playoff victory ever. Was super close to getting them out of the second round. He's getting them turned around, and he's doing it with less than 40 players. So if you want to talk about how, to manage a small roster, how do you get guys offensive and defensive fundamental time? He's a great one to talk to, because he got there and really, has built Lanier up into a respectable program. And I think they're just going to keep going. So all of these guys have agreed to come down. I want to say it on their behalf. And I know that you can attest to this. We don't hand you guys, an envelope full of cash. We make sure that it doesn't cost you anything. We cover your gas. But the guys that are coming to do this are coming to talk football. They're coming to advance our sport out of their own time, out of their own energy. This is not Glazier. This is not Nike. We are not paying them a large check, no appearance fee. I mean, we're making sure it doesn't cost them money. But, the guys that we have are football coaches. You're going to get to see them coach football with our guys that probably don't do what it is that they're used to doing. So you can hear the coaching points. Every speaker gets an hour. We're excited about it. So bring your folks.
And this is $15 if I heard it
This
right.
is $15. The $15 goes into a pot. And again, we're going to feed you twice, and then we're going to give the gas money back to these speakers. So this is not a fundraiser for Brooks County football.
That's what I'm saying. You can get $15, drum up $15 and get on there.
And I'll make it even better. It's $15 a coach, but when you go to the link, and it'll go on social media tonight, whenever you go to the link, if you're bringing 4 or more, it's $50. So that fourth guy costs you $5. Your fifth guy is free.
So find your 3 other guys, get in the car, and go on.
And the change we're making this year, and it really, I think, is going to outfit guys like you, guys like Grant, guys like Coach Banks coming from well out of town. We're not starting until 12 o'clock. Now, coaches harp all the time about being late. Now, that first speaker is going to start at 12, but you can get equipment from anywhere by 12 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
And then your speakers are running to 6. The breakout sessions are just until the lights go out. So we really wanted to change it to where you shouldn't have to get a room the Friday night before. Get up from wherever you are, brew you a pot of coffee, come down and see us. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I can attest they do a good job. And I like to think all clinics are useful in their own way. They're all different, but it is a different type of thing when it's hands-on. It's in a smaller group setting sometimes, or
absolutely.
And you really can pick up a couple of things. I had a couple guys on here, either on the podcast or doing videos through this virtual clinic, that brought up things they learned, from Rocky.
Awesome.
Or from us or whatever. And they do that periodically with many things, but the specific clinic at Brooks County has come up a couple of times. So, you pick up 1 or 2 things even. That's really, it's a neat feeling to organize something like that. I know you make
it's fun. And we've done it with, I think the most we've had walk through the door, we had 61 people one year. And then we've had in the 30s, but I can say everybody that comes enjoys it. Like, I don't know where else you're going to see Rocky Hidalgo in the front lobby of a high school teaching linebacker fundamentals. And he worked up a sweat. I mean, he needed a towel and a Gatorade. But again, we bring our players in, and it's basically, we're having it March 25th. That's a month, 6 weeks before spring gets started. I've told these coaches, if the people attending this clinic could come watch you in your first few days of spring, do your fundamentals, what would they see? Coach our players.
Mm-hmm.
And we get them out there, and, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it really, really is a lot of fun. It is watching coaches coach. So yeah, by all means, come see us. Got any questions? I'm not hard to find on Twitter. Coach McFather's not hard to find. Coach Freeman's not hard to find. Ask a question, get down there
Yeah.
and enjoy it with us.
Yeah, it's a good one. And if you rewind and listen to those names again and look them up, you'll find that those are some of the best coaches around, man. Ware County defense,
Absolutely.
Auburn. And don't let Goolsby's videos fool you from him being a damn good coach.
Yeah, and he's
He
doing
is an
linebacker
absolute,
fundamentals. He's going to have
he
our
is an absolute
linebackers
great football coach.
getting after it. So
Yeah.
by
So
all means,
let's talk some defense, man.
let's
What you
do it.
got?
So, whenever you and I originally talked, I wanted to talk about just some run game stuff because that's what we see so much, especially with me coaching our overhangs. Everybody seems like the new vogue term has moved from RPO to setting the edge, and we were going to talk about that. And then when I was at GACA helping out with the All-Star game, I had some dang good football coaches ask me about new Hudl. Now, I don't know if it's a good or bad thing that I've been called the new Hudl guy. But I'll wear it. And as we were talking, and I wanted to show them some of the things that they could do, maybe some of the things that they were missing. I just, I felt like this would be a great time. Everybody is using Hudl, so hopefully, there are some things in here that can help. We like to think that we run a data-driven defense. We bring the hammer. We're gonna hit you hard. We're gonna run fast. But that hitting hard and running fast on Friday comes from a really data-driven system that allows us to practice what it is that we believe the opponent's going to do. So I just want to talk a little bit about using Hudl to help you game plan, using new Hudl, maybe some things that you've been wondering about, haven't quite figured out, and can help you and your defense and your offense in a self-scout mode. So what is new Hudl? And I know it was called Hudl Beta for a year or so, and it was just kind of a tab that nobody ever really used, but now it's new Hudl. I had somebody tell me, man, new coach sucked and they got rid of it. So is new Hudl going to do that? And I hope not. But new Hudls are more efficient. It's an interactive way to look at the data you're already tagging. I've told people before, the old Hudl is just a flip phone, and the new Hudl is a smartphone. Okay, we all use apps every day. I don't think anybody got on their browser and went to twitter.com and looked at Twitter today. You went to the app. That is what new Hudl has kind of done. They've streamlined a lot of what it is they know coaches use. It allows you to move quickly through opponent data without running custom reports. We've all sat and ran all those reports. We didn't run a report. We've not ran a report in 2 years. We've not ran one formation report in 2 years. That includes this past year where we were a first round exit. That includes the year before where we held a trophy up at the end of the night. It uses clicks as a filter so you can move quickly through the information that you need. And I'll show you that when you click on something, it basically shows you only that value. And again, we'll go through that a little bit more. You're going to see when people pull it up, it looks so different that I think it scares people off. And let me be the one to tell you, play with it, mess with it. Don't be afraid of it. The things that you see the most up in the top right-hand corner, you see watch, you see breakdown, and you see analyze. Watch is nothing but watching the tape. That's you. If you got a clicker, if you're hitting the next button, you are literally just watching the film. The breakdown tab is where you're going to enter your data. Okay, you're used to that. All of your columns that you've got are in there. Breakdown is just entering. Analyze, when you click analyze, that is where you can use the data. The analyze part is what makes new Hudl new. Okay, we've always had the ability to watch tape. We've always had the ability to input data in order to break down tape. This analyze feature is what, that's the secret sauce in Hudl or in this new Hudl. And then it allows you to save some needed filters for future opponents. So if you've got a set of data that you need for every single tape, you can save that. You need to know what third and medium, third and 4, 5, and 6 is. You save that. When you get into your playlist that I'm going to show you, you click that save filter, and all of a sudden you have all of your data. Okay, you don't have to go back and find all of this stuff later on. Data-driven defense, again, these are the 4 questions we feel like we need to answer. Okay. And we feel like this because we're not the most multiple defense. I've been on things before where people say, man, you know what you're going to get when you play Coach Freeman in Brooks County. And that's true. Okay. We're not going to give a dozen different looks, but in exchange, we've got to be very, very prepared for what it is that you do. Okay. Because we don't have a schematic answer to everything. So first question we want to answer is, who are they? Okay. And these over here listed on the right that you can see, these are the reports that we're going to work with that I'll show you momentarily. The ball, that's just who is getting the ball. The personnel, we use the number system. You can use what you want, but we're 10, 20, 21, 11, those kind of things. What's the play caller's run pass percentage? Is he a field and boundary guy? And then is he strong and weak? And what I mean by that is if we call the tight end or the strength to the tight end, does he run behind the tight end? That is going to reveal who the opponent is. You can tell a lot about a man by his personnel report. Okay. If there's not some 21, 22, 13, 31 in there, he ain't trying to run the ball a lot. So that tells us who they are. What do they do? That's whenever we start looking at formation, offensive play, down and distance tendencies. Okay. And then what will we not lose to? I have a custom filter that I use for explosives. That's any play that gets 10 or more yards. And that's one of the first things that we want to look at. When we get all of our data together, okay, we've got, I know tradition is 3 games. You hit the playoffs and you might have 10 of them. But you've got all of your stuff together. I'm going to click that gain loss, or not gain loss, just a gain of 10 or more. And I want to see what plays are they hitting home runs with. What can I not get beat by? Formation tags. When you get into people that are running the stack, when you get into people that are doing some kind of weird stuff, one of the things we ran into this year was people wanting to have the flex or the 20 personnel backfield and then having a 3-man surface where one of them's ineligible. You don't want to get dicked. I don't know if I can say that, how many families are listening to that, but you don't want to fall victim to that. Is there a formation that they love? Is there an offensive play that they love? And then where can we attack them? Using the data that I'm going to show you, where are the high percentage tendencies that we feel like we can attack? Okay. We want to answer these 4 questions whenever we walk out of there on Sunday. And before we hit that practice field on Monday, we want to know these items. Some answers defenses need. This is where I would use the new Hudl versus the old Hudl. If I were to have a guy who's got a tape broke down and say, hey, show me if a play caller has a tendency that relates to personnel or field zone, how fast could you do that? How quickly could you pull that up and know that information? With new Hudl, it's going to take you 30 seconds. With the old Hudl, you got to go run a custom report. I want to go personnel by run pass, and I got to run that report. I want to go personnel by field boundary. I want to run that report. Because a lot of times what you'll find is in 21 personnel, they may be fullback oriented, but in 10 personnel, they're going to the field. And new Hudl is going to tell on somebody so quick. And then your strong and weak stuff. If you put a fullback on the field, do you follow him? Are you running power and counter? Or are you running split zone where he goes one way and the O-line and the running back go another? So, you could pull this information in less than 60 seconds. How does down and distance impact who gets the ball? Okay, we are high school coaches. Scheme's not always the answer. Dudes are the answer. I love looking at ball by 3rd down. On 3rd down, who do you try to get the football to? That's who I need to find. What sets and plays must I prevent them from having success in? Unbalanced. Are you jumping in unbalanced and gashing people at random parts of the game? Okay, and those gain and loss columns are going to tell you that. And then lastly, there's endless possibilities of if they do that, then this is what they do. Okay, and that's what it is that you want to be able to defend. That's where something like data can really help you. And, before I go any further, this is no substitution for watching the tape. Okay, I do all of this, and then the rest of the week, I just spend so much time watching players. Is the right guard any good? Will the running back fumble? Does this kid get flustered whenever you start hitting on him a little bit? Those are things that data is not going to tell you. Okay, so this is no substitute for that. But all the work that you're doing, this can make you that much better if you or someone on your staff can really figure out how to harness it. Input. That's what I want to talk about. And then I'll get into, actually showing you on my screen some Hudl stuff. This is how I do it. Okay. And whenever I show it to you, it's going to seem like a lot. But I bet if some of the coaches listening to this were to tell me all that they do, When you write it all down, you guys are doing a lot. So you just get it into a system and it's not that bad. We're going to first take, and we're going to make a playlist in Hudl. Okay. Say I've got, I'm playing Washington Wilkes. I think that's who I'm going to use because they were one of the most diverse offenses we saw 2 years ago, and we got a bunch of games on them. I'm going to go through and say I've got games 1 through 4. I'm going to click all 1 through 4. I'm going to filter it to O, and then I'm going to save that playlist. Maybe it's Washington Wilkes offense 1 through 4. Now I have all their offensive plays in one place. Okay. And then I can create subsets to show players and staff. That's where I can cut it up into this is their trip stuff. This is their screen package, all of those things. But one of the most important things you can do if you're trying to figure out an offensive play caller, get as many plays in one place as you can. Okay. We like to think it takes 150 plays. That's 3 games, 150 plays, and people are going to start telling on themselves. Getting all the information in one list, it gives you a feel for the play caller, his strengths, his weaknesses. We want to be vague where it's possible. We believe that trips is trips. There's no trips right. There's no trips left. There's no trips flip. It's just trips. And then we'll use formation tags to kind of make that more specific. Power is power. Okay. I'm not putting A power, B power, bounce power. None of them. I mean, if there is a down block, a wrap, and a kick out, it's power. Curl flat, that's just showing a pass concept. Keep that stuff as simple as you can. The more values that you give it, the more muddy it gets. Okay. And Coach Masella and I over at Telfair talk all the time. We play with 14-year-old kids. Sometimes they just invent a new play. It was supposed to be curl flat, but the kid ran an 8-yard out. They did not reinvent the wheel. That kid just don't know what he's doing. Okay. So just be very vague in how it is that you label something so you get a feel for the concept being called. I've already talked on formation tags and backfield to zero in on your information. Be consistent with formation and play names. Watch out for things like capitalization, okay, because trips, as I have it written up here, and trips in all caps is 2 different formations to Hudl. Okay, so that's a really, really big deal. Going to show you how to preset your filter for your call sheet needs, and then get creative to try to tell on these people, or get creative to try to figure out what people are finding about you. Okay. Now, showing you this, we're going to jump out, and I'm going to kind of start from scratch using this. Let's go to, I want to try to keep some of that up, but I'll just roll with it. This is what you get to when you get the Hudl. Okay. Most people are going to Hudl Classic Library. If you click in New Hudl, it's going to bring up your opponents. Okay. And it does, it's going to look a little bit different for some reason. Ours, we had some stuff get deleted, but all the games you have and all the opponent scouts going to pop up. I'm going to use Washington Wilkes, for example. They fall under here under a category or a past team. When you click on it, okay, and this is actually a compliment, doesn't I'm using them because these guys, if you're listening to this and you were at Washington County or Washington Wilkes 2 years ago, y'all were a problem. But let's just say hypothetically, you've got games 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, 4. I'm going to click all 3 of these. I'm going to click play. Come over here. And right now you're in the breakdown mode. Okay. This is where you would input everything that you want. If you come over here to analyze, you can do this drop down menu changes the way that you look at it. Okay. So you can do it with the video and the data over here on the right. Something I love doing, we do it in our staff meeting as we pull this thing up in full screen so that we can see everything. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it like this. I'm going to click O. Okay, better yet, we'll go back so you can see it because most people ain't going to like that. We're going to be right here. Now what I've done is turned the original playlist had 414 plays. Now I have 155 plays. Okay, this is 3 games of their offense. I'm going to click breakdown. I'm going to come right here to this little circle. Okay, when I click this, that selects all of these clips. Okay, all 155 of them. I'm going to come right here to selected items. Click that. I'm going to do a new playlist, and I'm going to name it WW Offense. What do we say this was? 2 through 4. We'll just say 2, 3, 4. Done. Enter. Now, whenever I come back out to my home screen and I go to Washington Wilkes, I can find, pull this, this one up here out of the way. I can find this playlist right here. And now I can work with this. Okay. And you would do that for every playlist that you tag. Okay. Make you one good list. Now, kind of like the shows where they're trying to sell you an oven. I've already cooked the cake and I'm going to show you what that looks like. If I come down here, Wilkes offense, I hit play. I have 253 plays. Now, I don't remember. These were just the ones that we tagged that we felt were meaningful. These guys blew a lot of folks out. When they started subbing, we stopped tagging. And that's a policy we have. That's up to you and your staff, whatever you want to do. Okay. But notice, again, I've gotten all the data in one place because it doesn't matter the opponent. It's the same guy calling plays, and he's calling plays with the same players. Okay. So we really want to get a feel for that play caller. Now, whenever I do analyze, and this is where the fun is. I'm going to move this Zoom icon over here out of my way. Right here, this is kind of a mad scientist view of what it is they do according to what it is I have tagged. Okay, all of this information is a reflection of what it is that I have done. Okay, and I've said this before when I've talked to other people in the past. I had to tag the data to get a feel for these folks and really, know them on a really good level. I had to tag it, and then I had to run the reports to see what all the tagging said. This has eliminated that step. Okay, so let's run through this right here. Under the tendencies, they are a 63, 37% run to pass. Okay, roughly 60-40. These are their favorite formations. It's going to give you the top 3. If you hit view all, it's going to show you everything. Okay, and now notice out of 250 plays, I've logged 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 11 formations. Okay, 11 formations tells me what it is that I need to know. It's going to give me their plays that they have ran. Obviously, they ran a lot of plays. Okay, they had a lot of stuff that they were doing, but it tells it all to me. Okay, and I'll show you a little more about how to work with that column to zero in on it some. Play strength. This is a custom column. I think everybody knows how to make a custom column. It's under team settings, manage breakdown. You can get that. I do strong and weak. I think everybody does something like this. Just basically, if I'm going to put that the offensive strength is to the right, I need to note whether or not the ball went to the right so that I know, are they a strong or a weak team? Okay. This is going to vary by every team. Maybe you always call the strength to the tight end. Maybe you call the strength, to most receivers, field, whatever it is that you want to do. But, for me, by reading this, and because I'm the one that put it in and our staff knows how this works, this tells me that if they get in trips, they're probably going to the 3-man side 60% of the time. They put H back in the game, they're going to him 60% of the time. The ball, this is another custom column. It's as simple as it can get. Put the number of the guy who got the ball. Okay, now, if it's a drop back, they do curl flat, the guy, quarterback throws the ball in the dirt, I'm going to put who they were targeting. Okay, because that's who he was getting the ball to. Even though his read is what dictated that, I'm going to put that down as an opportunity for that guy. Now you can immediately know who's getting the football. Okay, and there's no secret that Dalen Cobb was that dude. That's why he's at Georgia Southern, returning kicks and doing things like that. Hash with a period, all that is home and away. I just put, that's a custom column, and it gives you the hash right or left. I put hash with a period. You can call it what you want. I chart if you call plays to your sideline or to the other sideline. Formation into the boundary, the way that I use that is I use this report, and then I go, and we'll get into reports in just a second. But I'm going to go, I label formation into the boundary, whether it's right or left, and then I'm going to go to play direction. And what this report is telling me is that when the formation into the boundary to the left, then 73% of the time the ball went to the left. When they went to the right, the ball went out there 70% of the time. So that tells me when they put trips into the boundary, I better have some folks over there because they have no problem throwing it into the short side. Okay, that's simple. That's easy. That took me no time to do. Our formation tags, this was, back up. I remember was if they got into doubles or trips, and instead of having the tailback in a traditional system, they put him up as a sniffer, I would tag that. The RPO, this was a tag that I played with. If it was an RPO, I tagged whether they ran it, they passed it, or if it was a veer game. I don't remember what they had going on there. The field, some guys, especially the spread, I try to look, are you perimeter? Are you running the ball inside? Are you throwing a shot play? Is it quick? I don't do that for every opponent. Is the guy right or left-handed? Obviously, this play caller's not. The personnel breakdowns off of numbers. And then the rest of it, is field boundary, things like that. Now, where you can really get into some stuff is I want to know, we'll start really simple. What does their run pass do according to personnel? In 10 personnel, they are 40% run, 60% pass. Because remember what I said at the start of the presentation, everything in here is clickable. And when you click it, everything that is not 10 personnel goes away. So all the data changes. All right. So right now, this is all 250 plays. When I click this 10 and that check mark goes up next to it, or I'm sorry, whenever it turns blue, that 250 changed to 60 and to 100. All right. And look at what the run pass percentage does. What do I need to be prepared to defend as a play caller, as a game planner? I need to be prepared to defend the pass. Okay. And the only two formations out of it is trips and doubles. Let's see what this does whenever they go 20. When they go two back, I'm going to click this. All the data changes. All of a sudden, they're 72% run out of two back. I can attack that. I now have found something that they do. Okay. The plays change. If I can defend buck sweep, counter, and outside zone, I've defended 50% of their plays out of this formation. Okay. And then we can go on down. It's probably the rest is some shot plays and some screens. And I can group all of these together as I'm preparing. So you see how that works. Let's say I want to know. Let's go third down. Everybody loves third down. Okay. Over here is your situations. I probably should have covered that more. But let's say third down and medium. We call third down and medium 4, 5, 6. And they've only been in that 15 times, but they've been in it. So now all these things that are blue are the filters that I'm given. Okay. So third and medium, we got to play ball. There's no tendency. There's no run pass tendency. Okay. The formation, we can expect flex, trips, doubles. The plays change a little bit. Screen, counter, boot. Probably not a play we can key in on, but we can key in on some formations, and we can make sure that we're lined up right. Are they strong and weak out of this? No, they're not. Okay, there's no real tendency there. 50-50. You can't sell out to the three-man side. You can't sell out to the H-back side. Who's getting the ball? This I can go with. Okay, 38%, or number 1, who was the quarterback, got the ball 38% of the time. Number 11 got it 15%. Number 7 got it 15%. All right. 68% of their third and medium offense. I better find number 1, 11, and 7. Okay. And those guys, I think, were like state champs in the relay team. Okay. They were good. You better find them. Okay. You better not have an inside backer on number 11 or you've got problems. Okay. And then, as I was saying earlier, one of the cool things that we like to do is if you like this filter, third and 4, 5, 6, you can come right here. You can save it. I've already got it saved, but when I click save, I can name it third, 4 through 6. I hit enter. And now any playlist that I bring up, when I go to filters, I can click on it. I can click on it and boom, it's right there for me. I can put it in my call sheet immediately. Okay. Now I'm going to remove that and clear all those out. We're back to all the plays that we have diagram for them. And we'll show you these saved filters. Remember, I said I like the explosives. Okay, whenever I go to explosives, I've got anything of 10, 12 or more. All right, I probably should have that 11. And there we go. Now I can find what it is that they're hitting home runs with, and they hit home runs with a little bit of everything. Okay. Again, 111 and 7. That's their home run hitters. Those are the ones that you better find. They're getting the ball on the perimeter. You know, and this just happens to be them. And this stuff's 2 years old. I don't think it's indicative of what it is that those coaches are doing now. You know, it's a whole different set of players. It's totally different now. But this is what new Hudl can do for you. Okay. If you want to look at what somebody does as they approach the 50. Okay, so over here you've got the field zone. All right, I want to go 20 to the 50. You know, what do they do to get to midfield? So I'm going to click on each one of these bars, and they're balanced. Okay, they are balanced until they get to the midpoint, till they get to midfield. Let's see what it is that they do whenever they cross that midfield. They're probably doing that on a kick return. We go here and we run it down to the next 20. Now they're running the ball almost 10% more. Okay. Again, there's no custom report. There's no, you know, doing all of that and printing all that. I click it. I see what it says. I like it. I don't like it, or I move on. Okay. You can do, so the reports here, you can report on anything. So let's go formation by, it'll give you an overview. The overview is kind of paralysis by analysis, in my opinion. But let's just look at formation by run pass. Now, here we go. Formation by run pass. Flex, 72% run. It's trips, 55% pass. Doubles, 70% pass. Pro twins, 93% run. I have this. It's right here for me. This is easy. This is not hard to do. Okay. We put this up on a staff meeting, the whole board, and we look for big numbers. Some of you like to print it, give your players this. The print's not hard to do at all. Okay. It'll print it just like this. We don't print anything. We don't, we kind of install it as we go using the plan that we like. Another one we can go down here to personnel. I told you personnel is a big one for us. Personnel by run pass. Let's go. You can pick anything. Personnel by run pass. There we go. So when you find that the H-back went out, the fourth receiver came back in, you can tell how it is that things are going to change. Okay. We can do, there's just endless things that you can do, and you can use this for self-scout really, really well. Okay. Putting your own stuff in here, tagging your own stuff in your own language, and seeing, man, who am I on just third down? When that down marker says 3, what am I run? Am I pass? Who am I on third and long? Let's go 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see who I am on that. I'm 67% pass. Okay. We love, and I know people have heard me say this before, we love the ball column. Okay. We love looking down here at who gets the ball. Kids get, I might have missed it. Let's see. Kids get excited when they know who they got to stop. Okay. They don't always get excited for tendency reports and all of these kind of things. But if you can say, hey, look, we better not let number 7 score. If 1 and 7 don't score, we win the football game. Kids can buy into that, and you can chart it, and it's easy to do. So, new Hudl and this analyze tool, it really is something that it doesn't put any more work on you. That's the thing that I want to stress. You're already tagging data. I don't know anybody that I've ever talked to that just watches the tape like a movie. Okay. Coach Freeman doesn't, and he's got 37 years of experience, he doesn't input data. But if I showed up on a Sunday and no data was inputted, he would take my keys. So he makes sure that it is inputted. And some of you may be that way, but you're already inputting data, either defensive stuff, or what an offense is doing. New Hudl is going to let you work with that data even more. It's going to break it down for you in a way that you can look at, you can find what you like, find what there's nothing there for. You're going to find that I've already seen it in some of these examples. They're balanced. They're 50-50. They're 60-40. That's not a real tendency. We'll move on. We're going to play ball out of that. But mess around and do something 73% of the time, we're going to try to cheat the numbers. Okay. And you can do that too. The way that we like to use this, and I want to go back through and make sure that I've kind of addressed every point that I tried to make with you. I could tell you, and I think we did it a minute ago, what a play caller does related to personnel or field zone. And I pulled that up. Y'all saw me do it in less than a minute. We can look at run pass by personnel. We can look at, we didn't do field boundary, but shoot, let's do it real quick. Let's do personnel by field boundary. When the personnel changes, because Coach Freeman's a big personnel guy. So if I go personnel, I'm going to report on, where did it go? Play. Nope, that's not. I want field boundary. Boom. Okay. There's not a lot there. Okay. This guy's a very, very good play caller. In 10, he'll go to the field. He'll go to the boundary. In 20, he'll go to the field. He'll go to the boundary. In 21, so there's nothing there, and that's okay. But this will give you tails immediately and allow you to practice efficiently. Down and distance, and we did that. Third down by ball. Where's the ball go on third down? What sets in place must I prevent? That's looking at those explosives. And then, you may have some cool reports or cool, cross examinations that I've never even heard of. And I would love to hear more about that. Again, put all of your data in one place. Don't break down 4 games and then look at them individually. You can do that if you want to. Okay. But at some point, combine all of them together and take a look at that play caller, because the play caller doesn't change. The players don't change. So what it is that they do shouldn't change too much. We'll get back to this, kind of how it is that we use it. Creating a plan. Monday, we're going to introduce, we have an install period. We don't come in on Sundays. Mondays are a little bit lighter for us. We're just in shells, but we're going to introduce their top players. We're going to make sure they understand who we cannot lose to, who we cannot let into the box, their top formation, so that we know how to line up, and then the plays that they like, especially the plays that they may run that we do not. Okay. With us on offense being a gap scheme exclusive team, if you show up and you're running the inside zone with a cutback, we're going to put more emphasis on that because we can simulate power pretty well. We're going to walk through what we like versus what it is that they do. Okay. So, some formations that we always have to make sure we address, or anything like trips closed. What are we going to do with a nub tight end? Unbalanced. Those kind of things. We're going to talk through, hey, they do this, and this is how we want to make sure that we're lined up to it. We're going to introduce all the tags and explosives. What I mean by that is if they jump into double stacks, if they do the extra man over, all those things, we want to get that introduced on Monday. We want to try to rep it on Monday. That way we can rep it the rest of the week and we don't get caught with our pants down. The explosives. Hey, guys, look, these dudes average 15 yards of pop on trap. Don't get caught with the trap. We're going to introduce that on Monday. And then during team, it's our top 3 runs, top 2 passes. Okay. If you're like me and you're the one that makes the scout notebook, you're the one that, puts that together for the offensive staff. This makes it immensely so much easier. I can just pull up their top 3 formations and the top 3 runs and 2 passes out of each. It's so easy. Tuesday, we're going to practice those specific techniques in Fundy period. Okay. So for me, coaching the overhangs, if you're a 4-vert team, we're going to make sure we're working on wall of number 2. Okay. If you're throwing the deep out to number 1, we're going to make sure that we're cognizant of that. And we're working that in our fundamental periods. and that goes for every position on defense. We're going to get a heavy dose of third down plays and explosives during our team versus our good on good periods. We want to make sure that we're putting those third down formations in front of our players and those big hitters. You know, if they've got the ability to pull up and throw that ball out there and the guy scores, we're going to make sure our kids see that 8 to 10 times because the numbers have said that they're good at it and that they'll hurt you if you don't defend it correctly. And then we're going to have an alignment period every Tuesday. We've started it on Monday. We've installed it. We know what it is that we want. And then Coach Freeman's going to ask for, give me these formations, and we're going to make sure we can line up to it in the 2 or 3 different looks that we want to give it. On Wednesday, kind of your last real prep day, we call it kitchen sink. That folder that I give the offensive staff has a little bit of everything in it. Okay, as many looks as we can get. We think formations over plays, okay, because the formation lines us up. We think if we line up correctly, we know our key, we can get to the play. We want to make sure that on Wednesdays we work those weak areas for us. We know people are going to attack us with 4 verticals and unbalanced. Okay, we're a 1 high defense, so people want to run the seams, and then we're an even defense when you talk about an even front, 4 backers. So unbalanced is always something we have to make sure that we move with that extra guy. We're going to get a lot of that on Wednesday, and then we're going to have an extended goal line period. Okay, something I didn't show in this that I'll go through and do right now. You want to know what it is they do on the goal line? Come up here, field zone, and let's just go 10 and in. Now that I've clicked that, all of this data represents what they do 10 and in. They run the football. They get in pro twins. They get in pro trips. And I know that's kind of a weird formation for me. Pro trips is tight end, fullback, and then they move the twins to the same side. Okay, so they really burn the tight end as ineligible. Maybe they move him to the backside tackle, but that's a heavy side. We better adjust to that or they're going to get us. And flex. Notice, ain't no 10 personnel down here. Okay, they're going to run the football right at you from the 10 and in. So this is what we're going to practice. During our goal line period, if it's 10 and in, this is what we're going to show. Matter of fact, I'm totally fine saying 32 plus 18 is 50. Flex makes 61. I've already covered pro when I did pro twins and pro trips. We're used to tight end fullback. I'll throw trips in there. I've got 70% of what it is that you're doing. And out of it, I'm going to run counter, power, buck, and quarterback sweep. I'm going to do those things. I'm going to make you beat me or try to make you beat me on the flood, on the naked. I mean, the ISO's kind of, that's just there. All right, but here we go. I mean, this is my goal line package right here by clicking one thing. All right, that's easy. There's no easier way to do that whenever you get ready to practice that particular part of what it is that you're doing. You know, and I know I feel like I talk pretty fast to get through it. It's easy. You know, don't let this new layout, don't let it scare you. Okay. It does everything that Hudl used to. It lets you do highlights. It lets you, you know, record your tackler and your tackler 1, your tackler 2 for your stats. Like this just puts all your information in one place. Okay. So again, you know, and Chris, I'm sure that you'll have, you know, a question or two maybe that's come up from somebody that isn't using it all the time or is unfamiliar with it. And I'd love to get into any of that with you. But the main thing that I would try to sell you on, and sell may not be the right word because I don't get anything from Hudl for doing this. I just think it's a good product. They ain't passing me no check. I don't get no t-shirt, lanyard, none of that.
They could at least get you a lanyard.
I don't think I got a lanyard. No, I mean, it's, you know, the money that we pay, it pays them, but I think it's good product. I think it can help coaches. You know, I think it can help really, really good coaches get even more out of the work that they're already doing. So, you know, I'll kind of die on the hill that new Hudl's pretty dang good.
Well, it's just like a lot of things. You're going to have to, you know, and the older you get, the harder this is. I will tell you that.
Sure.
As you know, I did a lot of I embraced the huddle when it started, but just from things like Word and Excel and some of the things I was able to produce when they went to the new version of Word on this or the new, I'm like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
It,
And I was telling you before we came on here that I'd gotten this new desktop and I'd been using a Chromebook
yeah,
for 2 years. I haven't touched Microsoft PowerPoint in 2 or 3 years. I used it on this, and I mean, I
yeah.
was pulling the hair I don't have out. But
I
we
think a
got to
good
try.
coaching lesson before we can get into data of Hudl, just a good lesson in general, whether it's offense, defense, special teams, or how you break down data. It's okay to always learn some new things. And
Absolutely.
I know that sounds kind of like cliche or like I'm being condescending, even maybe, but no, I think really you have to remind yourself of that sometimes as a coach that it is okay to do something new or try it out. It's not okay to do it for no reason or to
Sure.
change the whole defense or something. I don't mean that, but don't be so hard headed that you get left behind, whether that's with
Sure.
offense, defense, or even with Hudl. So I would advise you to try to use whatever tools you have available to get any slight edge. What I'm seeing right now, coach, now I get off on a tangent on this, but my go-to line on the radio, on the podcast, on all stuff is half the teams have to lose. People forget this.
True.
You guys, I mean, you're getting down the rabbit hole here, but you guys play Blakely County, two very good football teams. Somebody's got to win, somebody got to lose. Doesn't mean
Ain't no
one of them's
doubt.
good. It does not mean one is good and one is bad. That's not what it means. It means somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. Half the teams are going to lose every week. So you better, the margin of half the teams don't have bad ball coaches, is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
So the margin for you winning is so thin that if there is anything in any of these virtual clinics, if there's anything that's happening in Brooks County on March 25th, if there's anything you can get a slight edge on, it actually more than ever, I would argue, may be the thing that separates you because the margin for winning and losing is just very thin. I'd say in Georgia, we got 75%, maybe 80 of the teams are fairly well coached,
Absolutely.
but 50% of them going to lose.
That's true.
So losing does not mean you're bad or you're not doing a good job. It means you didn't win the game. But the margin is so, but when I first started coaching, man, like 20 something years ago, I'm not I'm not trying to disparage anyone, but it felt like half the teams won and half the teams lost, but half the teams had good coaches and half did.
Sure.
That's more what it felt like.
Yeah.
It's not like that now, man.
No, I totally agree. I mean, and one of the things that validated this for me, and I'll admit, I probably got a year head start on this. And I know I've told some people before, one of the product developers for this they messaged our Twitter. And at the time I was behind it and asked if it was a coach. I pointed them over to my personal one. They said, "Hey, look, we're working on this Hudl beta. Would you be willing to try it out? Try it out in the season. Anything you don't like using Classic, just try it out. Let us know. Meet with us every 3 weeks. Do a Zoom call just like this." And I did that. So for a year, I tinkered with it. And I'll tell you that I would not input data in it because they did not have it right. It was cumbersome to input data. You couldn't input flex and then hit enter and go down. When you hit enter, it went all the way back to the start. But I worked with them, told them, "Hey, this ain't no good." And I think I was one of probably a dozen people around the country that had the privilege to do that. And I would show Coach Freeman, and this is the point I want to make, he has coached football longer than I've been alive. I'm 32. I think he's in year 37 overall. Okay. So he's forgotten more football than I know. But when I sat him down and showed him, this is what I've got, and it matched up with the notes that he made on his legal pad or on his manila folder that he folded, when he did it his way, and I put this information in there and we compared them and it matched up, he was hooked. Now I have to tell him every Sunday. Every Sunday before we hit that staff meeting, him and I are on the phone, and I'm telling him what I see in the numbers. He's telling me that the right guard ain't no good. The center will snap it over his head if we give him a little bit of zero nose every now and then. Okay, so
And
when
you
a
need
guy
both.
like that,
You need
what
both.
is it?
You need both.
Yeah.
You know,
And when
you
a
need
guy
data.
like that validates it, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
this is needed.
Yeah.
This is the ability to grow.
I mean, the product is awesome. I thought you did a fantastic job presenting it. I don't have a specific question because you'd have to, everybody's going to have a preference. It does.
Sure.
But what I did want to lead with, and I'll end with, is sometimes when you're younger, and I mean even like a kid, not a young coach, you fight the battle of trying to look cool by sounding cool. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And sometimes in coaching, we accidentally catch ourselves trying to sound cool, like we're down on something. They used to be down on throwing the ball, or down on playing 3 down linemen, or down on practicing with just helmets on, or down on, I mean, there's all the stuff
Yeah.
now that's just common that people were down on. And I know that may be an odd angle to take from a Hudl presentation, but I'm just saying anybody that's made it this far into this, they need to really embrace this, that this might be one of the things they can get an edge on. They might catch one or two things. I mean, just one or two things.
I
But
mean,
that might,
it might run you into a turnover. I mean, you might
yeah.
attack a tendency and run in, you get an extra possession, you win a ball game.
And because the games are so close now, I mean, who beats who is so arbitrary. Like, you can't say because y'all beat so and so and they beat so and so, that means y'all are going to lose to them. It's not like that anymore.
No.
Every game is its own entity. And the reason is that 80% of the teams have excellent staffs. And so even if the team's down a little by their standard or something like that, you better not, there ain't nobody trying to play y'all in the playoffs. I can guarantee you that. I don't care if you're down or not. Nobody wants to play. So, but it's for that reason that that razor thin margin means that what you do in the weight room and special teams and scouting and planning and whatever, I would say is a little bit more important than it's ever been.
Sure.
Because the margin for error is a little less. It just used to, if you were doing a great job, you made 2 or 3 mistakes, or you didn't capitalize on 1 or 2 things you could have, probably still going to win the game. But now, so
You got
embrace
no
it.
room.
I just think in a general sense, embracing the new thing is important. It doesn't mean you got to, Coach Freeman ain't going to go to them 3 safety defense. I know he ain't going to do that.
No.
But you can embrace the new thing. I noticed y'all run some of the new fancy offensive formations up. So
we run a little pro.
But you know what I mean? Like, embrace
Yeah.
the new thing, man. Don't be so hard headed. That'd be my pitch on Hudl, or new Hudl, or old Hudl.
The other thing that I would leave with, because I know you've got, so many people that listen to this and watch this. And if what I did is too much, it's not too much for somebody on your staff.
Right.
Okay. Because I just went through and did all of this. Coach Freeman, who again has coached longer than I've been alive, could not do what I just did. But he can get me to do it. He can encourage me to do it. He can show that he really likes it. So even if you don't like it, or if it's above your head, or if it's outside of what it is that you want, there's got to be a 25-year-old dude on your staff that is looking for something to be good at.
Mm-hmm.
He is looking for, he ain't coach ball as long as you have, and he don't know, a 6, 7, and a 9. And I mean, maybe nobody does, but he don't know all the things but I bet he can work Google Chrome. I bet he can get on here and really, do some things for you if you encourage it in him and make it part of what it is he's expected to do.
No, that's right. And you just gotta embrace it. Find some way to get an edge, and don't let it be paralysis by analysis either. You pick the parts that what coach was talking about in the presentation, pick the parts that matter to you. You don't have to do all of that. But I just mean, embrace it. Embrace it. It's not going away, bud. And if anybody complains about Hudl, I'll leave with this. Anybody that wants to complain about Hudl or new Hudl, let me get somebody about 10 or 15 years older than me tell you about old Hudl. Old Hudl.
Yeah.
A couple of dudes that had to hit stop and play and record on the VCR, and before that, the 16.
I've heard the stories.
So listen, Hudl is a godsend. It's like you forget how great it is to have your cell phone in your pocket if you'd ever had, if you think about what it was like before we had them. Hudl's kind of like that. It's easy to
Yeah.
complain about till you got to remember what it was like before it. And you guys think you don't see your wives now. Let me tell you how that thing went back in the day. My goodness. So
Well, and I'll also, I'll kind of leave you with this. Hudl Classic's going away. If what it is I've been told is true, and I don't think they've kind of kept that a secret, like what it is that I just showed you is going to be Hudl after this coming 23-24 season. If they keep with what it is they say that they want to do, they went through, I think, a year of beta. They've went through a year of calling it new Hudl, and then there's going to come a time where it updates and it just is Hudl. Like this is Hudl. So you know, just
yeah, that's
throwing that out there.
Yeah, embrace it, baby. Hey man, good to talk to you like always. And I'll see you here in a little bit.
Absolutely, man. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah. Take care, man.
All right. Bye bye.